Here we go, everybody. Let's have a look at EOS then, shall we? And a bit of an overview with Bitcoin. So just before we start, in fact, before we start all of that, for those who don't know, I've got a referral code that you can use to set up a Binance account if you've not already got one. But even if you do have one, you can set a second one up. This one will give you 20% back of all your trading fees for an entire lifetime. So if you're not getting any kind of benefit from your current account, your current Binance account, set up another one. You only need to verify with IDs and things like that, with your photo IDs. If you're buying and selling with fiat currency, all you need is a new email address and a Google authentication code, and you've got yourself a new Binance account that will basically save you loads of money on. So that said, let's move into Bitcoin. We're stuck in this, well, not stuck, but we're traveling within this pitchfork, and this is how I see it. We're above the center of the Bollinger Band, which is still good for the moment. The bounces that we're having are less and less in strength. Obviously, the first time we came down to this level, we did a massive bounce. Second time we did it, which was yesterday. Well, actually, this was the second time we did it, which was pretty good. Third time, I suppose, the center of that pitchfork, not quite so strong. Yesterday, dipped below it, a bit of a bounce up, and today we're doing it again. It's it's coiling up. It's coiling up is what I would say, and I'm not going to go long or short on Bitcoin in this zone. I'm not going to do it, but my preference is probably going to be to the up, but I would only really want to go long on it if we break out of the pitchfork to the up on maybe a 4-hourly close at a minimum. Ideally a daily, and then that would signify to me that there's an all-time high lurking around the corner. But for the moment, it's neither here nor there for me, and I'm enjoying the way it's moving. And actually, a lot of this pressure on Bitcoin and crypto, or mainly Bitcoin actually, is from the Dixie. So the dollar index is bouncing at the moment, reclaiming the 200 exponential on the 4-hourly, which is a big deal for it. There's a big deal definitely for the Dixie, with no signs of restraint. It doesn't really want to pull back at this level. My initial thought would be about 91, so we'll see how it copes with that level at the moment. And if that does push up from 91, I'm talking probably areas of around 91.6. And to put this into context, this was always a very strong chance that this was going to happen. The only way that this is going to come back down here in any time fast is if some kind of stimulus bill is not just presented but actually adopted and rolled out. The dollar's not going to tank on a projected stimulus package. It's only going to tank on the implementation of that. So everybody, from stocks to commodities to crypto, I suppose, is waiting for that stimulus package, because when that comes out, this will go down. Crypto, everything will go up, So that is basically the deal. So there is a lot of pressure on Bitcoin at the moment. So for it to find its way up to an all-time high at this level, it would require extreme strength. But during this period, it's allowing for what I call, I suppose, what's generally known as the rotation into altcoins, and some of these altcoins are pumping massively, and that's because the Bitcoin dominance has found itself all the way up at this level here, a multi-year resistance zone. It's been here before, and it's not liked it. Bump all the way back down. Bump down, and bump. So I was saying when we came up to these levels about a week or two ago, when we're up here, we scale into altcoins, and then maybe we could consider going back into Bitcoin out here, but it's still looking like it wants to continue down, and if it does, I would imagine we come down to around about 64.5, and who knows what happens by then. So I think the rotation is still in play, and the mid to low caps are the ones that are going to feel it. One coin that's not launched anytime soon is EOS. EOS was doing okay, and then basically, insult to injury, the developer left, and then at the same day, later on that day, Bitcoin decided to dump, so it got kicked while it was down, and since it's been down, it's back down at the bottom zone of the accumulation, which is this descending trend to this flat level of support. So while we're in an accumulation, it's, I suppose, in my opinion, and I'm no financial advisor, this is not financial advice, but it's rude to not accumulate in an accumulation period. So a lot of people will look at this, and I don't blame you, and look at this and go, no way am I going to be buying that, when I could look at something like Ethereum or Polkadot or Chainlink, which basically does the opposite. So when you look at those coins that are going up all the time, or going up significantly at the moment, obviously they are the ones to have been in at that time. Now, I'm not saying that EOS is the greatest coin of all time, far from it, but what I'm saying is that we're looking at a potential setup which could be an opportunity not to be missed. So for me, I don't put my entire wealth into something like this. What I do is, I trade across the board, especially in times like this. There's setups all over the place. And, there's lots of money to be made. And there has been lots of money made. So during that period, shedding a little bit of profit and putting it into a coin which is still in an accumulation phase isn't a bad idea, in my opinion, and that's why I do it. And when I'm looking at a chart like this, I think, well, actually, if this is accumulating down here, which it very much looks like it is, what happens after accumulation? It basically goes into a bullish trend, and a trend it will become. At the moment we had a top here in the consolidation, we had a top here. In accumulation, we had a secondary visitation of that top not long ago in the accumulation. So now we're back down below, I suppose, the bottom area of the accumulation. It's still a decent place to be buying it at. All of this zone here is the accumulation pattern. That's a big range, but accumulation can take place in a large range of 60, 64, 65% range from the bottom to the top. So I'm not saying that this is a perfect entry point, and I would never tell anybody to buy anything anyway. But for me personally, I look at a chart like this, and it's only a matter of time before we get a mirror image of these stair steps that took place all the way down to go all the way back up. Very much like XRP, this one doesn't have such a long market cycle, but it does seem to appear to have some form of a cycle taking place here, and we do appear to have found a bottom, and we have certainly found a top area here to break out of. Once this is broken, this will be our next level, around $5.40, then up to around $8.50, maybe even $9.40, and then revisiting these highs. And I know that sounds stupid and crazy to say that when you're looking at a chart that looks like it's basically flatlined and not going to do anything. You've got to put your trust in a chart, really, and like I say, it does take balls to essentially buy the bottom of a token that looks like this. And I don't have steel balls, but what I do have is, I suppose, experience, and I would pretty much say that I am still very much expecting this to make some big moves. Now, one other thing that we'd like to look at here, and something that's going to help us decide whether or not it's going to go bullish anytime soon, is an Ichimoku Cloud conversion baseline cross. Now, we haven't got anywhere near a perfect signal on this, and this is what happens in accumulation. There's no real edge to it. All these moving averages all are basically in the same place, going up, weaving around each other, not giving us any idea of which way it wants to go from 1 minute to the next, which makes it really hard to trade. And that's why an accumulation zone, you accumulate it until the opportunity presents itself to take a long position, for instance. I would never suggest put all your money into something like this, especially when we're in an alt season and there's setups that are far superior to this, left, right and centre, with immediate returns. This one's not going to give immediate returns, I can tell you that now. But what it will do, in my opinion, is give great returns in the long run. So again, we've been waiting on this conversion baseline cross to take place on the weekly, and we still don't have it. We're not likely to have it, in my opinion, maybe for another few weeks. Not to say that it wouldn't pump during that period, but this would be one of those signals. And it wouldn't be a perfect signal either. If we look at this on the weekly, below the cloud, we get a cross below the cloud. It's not exactly a strong cross. I wouldn't suggest going in on it at that level with any high leverage or anything like that, but it would be a start. It would definitely be a start. On the daily, we basically have a cross taking place back here, which again is beneath the cloud, and this would have been a buy signal in itself, but not a perfect one. It wouldn't have been perfect by any means, but it had played out okay. But you can see what's happened as a result. It not being perfect as basically not allowed for this to play out in a perfect fashion. Accumulation is difficult to play with. Now, one other thing I forgot to bring to your attention is the extreme bullish divergence that we've had on a monthly chart. All right, higher highs, higher lows for a period of this has been going on for a very long time, for a period of basically just over a year. Now, that would suggest to me that we're going to, when this does move, it will be aggressive, and that's why I get excited about this one, because as slow and as painful as it is to watch it play out this range, which is a big range in itself, as slow and as painful as that might feel, the long-term projections of this one is still going to be a pretty big, bold and aggressive one in my opinion. So like I say, I don't make calls, I just let you know what my plans are, and this is certainly one of my bigger plans for the year. Shaving off profits during the time that we are at right now, where everything's pumping and making loads of money, and putting 5% of each of those profits into this, which in my opinion is basically the bottom of a token, which has the capacity to do a 2 to 3 or maybe even a 4x within the first 2 quarters of this year. Anyway, I'll leave it with you there, but thank you for watching. I hope you have a nice day and take it easy.